The end of the 2017-2018 NBA season is here, and the offseason has officially begun. Congrats to the Golden State Warriors on winning the championship in a sweep over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, with that being said, there's obviously no more basketball to be played, meaning we've seen all we're going to see from players in the 2018 season. This is when player rank debates start to heat up, and I figured I'd start the summer off right with my full list of the top 25 players in the NBA ranked. Before I get into the list though, make sure you subscribe below, as all support for the channel is very much appreciated. New content like this comes weekly, so stay tuned for that as well. Now, with that being said, let's get right into it. Starting off this countdown, at number 25 is Nuggets center Nikola Jokic. Jokic has become one of the most polished, skilled, and well-rounded offensive players in the entire league, and is something we've maybe never seen before from the center position. Only 5 players in league history have averaged his points, rebounds, and assists for a season, which is highly impressive. Centers don't typically possess his playmaking ability, and he is truly one of a kind. What's holding him back from being higher up on this list is 2 things. The first is that he's a horrid defender, and the second thing is that he has yet to lead his team to the playoffs. Once he fixes those 2 things, the sky is the limit. Up next, at number 24, is the likely Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. He anchors in the middle of the floor better than anyone else in the league, which is huge in today's NBA, and he led the Jazz to being the second best defense in the league. Taking it to the basket on him has been proven to be a struggle for everyone, and in a league where defense isn't as recognized as it should be, Gobert refuses to be left out of the convo of the best players. He may not necessarily be a go-to offensive threat, but his work in the pick and rolls is excellent, and he finishes at the rim at a very high rate, with the second highest field goal percentage in the league. At number 23, we have Demar Derozan. DeRozan is another player who could be higher up on this list, but I'm putting my foot down after yet another disappointing postseason. His team was the 1 seed, had a tremendous bench, and if there was ever a year to slay the king, it was this year. Instead, he got swept by the Cavs and actually became a liability in some of the games, and he even got benched. His numbers from the regular season keep him in the top 25, but this is as high as he can go. Coming in at number 22 is Victor Oladipo, who really came out of nowhere this season. Just last year, he was included in the group of players labeled as no help for Russell Westbrook. With a change of scenery though, and hard work in the offseason, he really refined his game into a force to be reckoned with. Not only did his numbers on the offensive end improve drastically across the board, but he was also named first team all-defense, making him one of the best two-way players in the league. Up next at number 21 is Lamarcus Aldridge of the San Antonio Spurs. With Kawhi Leonard missing almost the entire season, the Spurs needed him to step up big with his game after a disappointing 2017 season, and step up his game he did. He finally reverted back to the LA we saw in Portland, and his scoring numbers returned to form. His defense also improved, which helped weather the absence of Kawhi on that end. This was a big year for his reputation after early turmoil in the Spurs system, but he did everything he could to get them back to the playoffs, despite health concerns from the entire roster. At number 20 is the likely Rookie of the Year, Ben Simmons. Simmons proved to be one of the most versatile players in the league immediately, doing pretty much everything at a high level except for jump shooting. He's a force in transition both by attacking the basket and creating for his teammates. His passing is up there with the best in the league already. He's a triple-double threat every single night, and most importantly, his defense was surprisingly great this year. As long as he continues to improve his jumper throughout his career, he should reach a much higher rank than this in the coming years, but he still has a long way to go, as we saw against Boston in the playoffs. Coming in at number 19 is reigning Defensive Player of the Year and now 3-time champion Draymond Green. Green is basically the glue that holds one of the greatest dynasties of all time together. He's an awesome playmaker, all-time great defender, and he just does all the little things that helps a team that don't get recognized on the stat sheet. His numbers are not eye-popping, but when you watch the Warriors in the playoffs, you see everything that he does out there, and his teammates feed off of it. Up next at number 18, we have Damian Lillard. Lillard was named first-team All-NBA this season, but immediately followed it up by getting swept in the first round against the Pelicans. In that series, he played poorly, which hurt his case on this list. His regular season was definitely impressive, as he led the Blazers to the 3rd seed in a loaded West, but he couldn't do it in the games that mattered, which slots him in at a reasonable 18. Now, at number 17, is Draymond Green's teammate, Klay Thompson. It's crazy to think that Klay is only the 3rd option on his stacked team, because he could easily be the number 1 option on plenty of other teams. He's one of the best shooters the league has ever seen, he scores at an extremely efficient rate, and he plays defense against the opposing team's best wing player at a high level. Two-way wings are extremely important in today's NBA, and he's one of the best there is, and most importantly, he shows up in the biggest games, having saved the Warriors countless times in the playoffs. At number 16, we've got Karl-Anthony Towns. Towns is another big man with an incredible offensive skill set. He was 4% away on his free throws from reaching the 50-40-90 club for his scoring efficiency, which is absurd for a center. He scores inside and out and has incredibly high ceiling as he develops. His defense leaves a bit to be desired, and he didn't really have the best showing in the playoffs, so until he improves in that regard, he won't reach the top 10, but he definitely should hit that mark in the near future. At number 15 is Demarcus Cousins, who is one of the most polarizing players in the league. His career has had plenty of ups and downs, but the one thing that has always haunted him is his lack of a single playoff appearance. This was going to be the year he made it too. Then he got hurt and his season ended early. He's one of the most gifted big men in the league by far, putting up monstrous numbers in rebounding, scoring, and even in the assist column for a center, and many see him as the best center in the league, but until he proves he can play winning basketball, as unfair as it may sound, I can't rank him any higher than 15. At number 14, we've got Jimmy Butler. Butler is another two-way wing that succeeds on both ends of the floor. This year, he led Minnesota to their first playoff appearance in 14 years. He hit countless big shots, took over when the team needed him to, and he played great defense that he got acknowledged for when he made second team all-defense. Unfortunately, he got hurt at the end of the year, and without him the Wolves barely clung to a playoff spot. The team was much worse while he was injured, which made it clear just how valuable he was to that young team around him. At number 13 is Paul George. George had a tumultuous season in Oklahoma City this year, playing alongside Russell Westbrook, but his best is up there with the top players in the league. We all like to joke around about his self-proclaimed nickname Playoff P, especially after this year, but overall he does actually step his game up in the playoffs. Additionally, he may not have gotten recognized for his defense this year on the all-defense teams, but I think he was snubbed in that regard and deserved at least second-team honors. Overall, he will be highly coveted in free agency because of this. Coming in at number 12 is John Wall. Wall missed half of the season due to injury, but when he returned, it was clear that the Wizards need him to lead them. He's a true 20-10 threat now, and has been for the last couple seasons, which is impressive for any point guard. Last year, he was the clear best point guard in the East, so I'm not going to knock him any lower than this because of injuries. When he's at the top of his game, he's capable of being one of the 10 best players in the league, but until he regains that form, he's slotted in here at number 12. And now, at number 11, is Kyrie Irving. Irving missed the entire postseason, unfortunately, because with him, he probably would have led the Celtics past LeBron James and the Cavs. Kyrie led the Celtics to the 2 seed this year, and he was the offensive igniter they desperately needed in the postseason. He has arguably as big or bigger of an arsenal of offensive moves as anyone in the league. His handles are A1, he scores efficiently, and we all know what he's capable of producing on the biggest stage in the game. And with that being said, that concludes the video. Stay tuned for part 2 coming soon, which will feature the top 10 to conclude this list. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel too, and follow me on Twitter at hoopsreference. See you next video.